Let's bring you the latest now on the deteriorating humanitarian situation in Syria. Government forces backed by Russian air power have been intensifying their campaign against rebels in Aleppo. Thousands have fled the fighting and amassing along Syria's border with Turkey. It's not clear just how many people are at the border crossings. Estimates vary between 10 to 35,000. Aid trucks from Turkey have been delivering supplies to the Syrian side, but for now, Ankara is not letting the refugees in. There are also 350,000 civilians living in rebel-held areas around Aleppo itself, and there are grave fears for their safety. Aid group Doctors Without Borders says a food and water crisis is looming. Stephanie Decker has the latest from the Kilis border crossing in Turkey.
The border may be closed for people, but we've seen a steady line of trucks coming in and out all day. And what we've also seen is steel structures on back of trucks, which appear to be able to be scaffolding material to continue building the tents inside. Now, we spoke to Turkey's disaster management agency. They tell us they believe around 10,000 people are on the other side of that border. He says they're registering them because there is, of course, a security concern as well. They want to manage the situation, but they say that they're perfectly well prepared to deal with them there as they are here when it comes to dealing with supplies, relief, blankets. But it is incredibly cold at night. So there are no plans at the moment to open this border, but we did hear from the Turkish president today. He did say that he expected a potential of 70,000 people to come over the next few days or weeks if this offensive continues. Of course, that's showing no signs of letting up, and that if need be, Turkey would be opening its borders, but at the moment they remain closed.
Well, the Syrian government offensive in the province of Aleppo is entering its second week. The army has managed to take rebel territory and disrupt supply lines. And they're also advancing towards the Turkish border. Zaina Khoda reports from southern Turkey.
The airstrikes are intense. The aim of the Syrian government is to weaken the defenses of the opposition before ground forces move in. Kfar Hamra is at the northeastern entrance of Aleppo. It's on the only route in and out of rebel-held districts inside the divided city.
The regime already cut off the roads in the northern countryside of Aleppo. For now, the only lifeline for the rebels is the Bab al-Hawa crossing. If the regime takes Kfar Hamra and moves towards Khan Assal, there will be no way to send reinforcements.
Bab al-Hawa is one of two crossings the opposition controls along the Turkish border. It is not far from the southwestern countryside of Aleppo, where the government and its allies have been on the offensive. The Syrian government and its backer Russia have made clear that they will not accept any ceasefire until the Turkish border is sealed. In fact, they are trying to make that happen. The offensive in the province of Aleppo is not just about laying siege to the opposition-controlled districts in the city. It is about recapturing Syria's border with Turkey. The only border crossing with Turkey under the Syrian government's control is Kasab, which is close to the Mediterranean Sea. Kasab is in Latakia, where there has been a major government offensive for weeks to seize the rest of the province's borders. But the government and its allies are not the only forces on the ground fighting for the border.
The Kurdish party, the YPG and the PKK have pushed from their enclave in Afrin in Aleppo. They've already captured two towns from the opposition. They'll push to Azaz and the Bab al-Salameh border crossing. The regime also wants Azaz and the crossing itself.
Azaz is now a place of refuge for the thousands who have escaped from the offensive. It is just a few kilometers from the Bab al-Salemi crossing. Government troops aren't far. Neither are the YPG Kurdish fighters. It is not clear if they are actively cooperating. But what is clear is that all sides are battling for control of the border. Zaina Khoda, Al Jazeera, southern Turkey.
The United Arab Emirates says it's ready to send ground troops to Syria to fight ISIL. It's the third Gulf nation to offer to deploy ground forces after Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. They're already part of the US-led bombing campaign against ISIL in Syria and Iraq. The government in Damascus has warned it'll regard any attempt to send troops as a hostile act. Riyad Khawaja is a security analyst who founded the Institute for Near East and Gulf Military Analysis in Dubai and says it's a clear commitment by the UAE.
This is more or less a declaration of intent. And it comes in light of the recent developments in Syria, whereby we saw Russia and its allies, Iran and the militias, make a strong push in the north and the south against the opposition forces, which led to the failure of the talks in Geneva. This is now raising suspicion that the intervention in Syria by the Russians is not about fighting the terrorist ISIL. It is about saving the regime and even more.
There is more to come for you on the News Hour.